The Munro Challenge in Scotland takes us to some remote and wild places, and in this adventure I'll be spending 3 days in the Rough Bounds of Knoydart, regarded as one of the last wilderness in Scotland. Well, hello there and welcome to another Munro adventure today. So I'm on my holidays this week and I thought I'd treat myself to what's going to be my toughest and longest adventure so far. I'm heading to the Rough Bounds of Knoydart for the first time. This area is described as one of the last wilderness of Scotland, so it's a very remote area. Even the drive in here, I've been 17 miles of single track road so far, and I think I've got another 5 miles, probably the worst part as well, down to Kinloch Hourn. So like I just mentioned, Knoydart is regarded as one of the most remote places in Scotland. And there's multiple ways you can approach it. The way I'm going to do it is from Kinloch Hourn to Barrisdale Bay, which includes about a 6 or 7 mile walk along the loch. You can also approach it from the south and get the ferry from Meall across to Inveree. But I think the way that I'm doing it is hopefully the more scenic of the two. I better crack on, make the 5 mile trip from here to Kinloch Hourn. So I wasn't wrong about this last stretch of road. It was a bit of a roller coaster, probably one of the narrowest, tightest roads that I've ever driven on. But it wasn't long until I made it to the end of the road. Right then, that's me finally reached the tiny village of Kinloch Hourn. You can see behind me there. And I'll need to get this big bag on, get ready to walk. But Kinloch Hourn, I don't even think it's a village, it's just a collection of small houses. It's worth mentioning as well that they ask for a £2.50 donation per night for your car or van to be left here. And there's an honesty box and slip that you can fill out, some contact details of your family members. So yeah, that just shows how remote this area is. Anyway, it's time to start part 1 of this adventure and make my way from here, Kinloch Hourn, down to Barrisdale Bay. Now, it is going to take me about 3 to 4 hours, maybe even longer with this really heavy backpack. So yeah, let's make a start on this adventure. So during this trip I decided to carry a water filter. That was just to lighten the weight of the pack, but it meant a few extra pit stops to collect water. That's me a couple of miles in now and the sun has come out. I'm absolutely sweating already. I'm well above the loch now, but then views are fantastic. I think the path just goes out to the left here. It's absolutely roasting. I think it was 18 degrees at my van, which is hot considering it's only mid-April. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. I'll take a look at that. I don't need to say anything. The views are stunning already. I'm absolutely knackered. I think I'm about 6 miles, just over 6 miles in. So this is the final descent into Barrisdale Bay. That was a lot tougher than I was expecting, especially with the heavy backpack, which I'm not used to carrying. I'm used to running quite light for day hikes. But anyway, I'll catch up with you once I reach Barrisdale campsite. Well, this place is incredible. This is the Bay of Barrisdale. I'll give you a closer look on my bigger camera, but across from here you can see the Munros that I'm going to be doing in the next couple of days. I'm actually quite surprised how little snow there is, which is a nice surprise. So I'm carrying winter gear. I thought there'd be a bit more than there is, but that is good. But anyway, I better get to this campsite, get my tent up. It's about 6:30, so I've only got a couple hours of daylight left. It wasn't long before the tent was pitched. I have to say I'm impressed with how easy it is to get this tent up. For anyone interested, it's the MSR Haba Haba NX2. So that's me made it to Barrisdale Bay. I'm finally all set up, the tent's pitched, boiling some water for my dinner as well. So this is a surprisingly busy little campsite. There's about 4 or 5 other groups here. Considering that you can't get here by car, everyone's either got the ferry across or made it here on foot. So it's a stunning little spot. Behind me you might just be able to see the peak of Ladhar Bheinn. Now, I'm not going to give away too much, but that's not the one I'm going to do tomorrow, so you can maybe figure out what my plans are. So I'm going to get a bite to eat, and then I might take a wander and explore Barrisdale Bay. So I'm just about to call it a night now. I tried to make it out to the bay to see that sunset, but I don't think I'm going to have enough daylight to get there. So anyway, it's been a fantastic day on day one of my Knoydart adventure. Quite strange having a campsite here with a working toilet and running water, but the landowner does ask that you use it instead of wild camping next to the beach. I think it's because of wildlife and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night now. Hopefully I'll see a sunset like that tomorrow. So I'll catch up with you first thing tomorrow. Well, good morning and welcome to day 2 of my Knoydart adventure. So the plan for today is to head from Barrisdale Bay, which you might just be able to see behind me, up to Mam Barrisdale, and from there I'm going to strike a left towards 2 Munros. I'm blown away already by the scenery and the remoteness of this area. Even though the campsite was quite busy last night, it took away from it a little bit, but it's still a fantastic location. I'm really excited to see what the views are going to be like up there. Okay, so that's me reached Mam Barrisdale. Quite a pull up to get to this point, but have a look, you can see the route for today. So I'm going to be striking up the ridge up to here, making my way along, and then I think the second Munro is up here, but then that descent looks like you end up down here somewhere and then back out towards the end of today. So I think it is going to be a tough day this. Probably tougher than it looks on the map. It doesn't look far, but I think there's going to be some jaggy and steep terrain. So I'm making good progress now. Oh, I'm tired, that is steep coming up there. But look at the views. The sun has finally come out, so I think it's going to be a fantastic day. So it's opened up and I can see second Munro over here, and there's out to sea. Absolutely fantastic. Wow, nearly there. Wow, what a spectacular view that is. Back down to Barrisdale Bay. I'm not sure that this is the true top, I don't think it is, but I'm going to touch it anyway just in case. This is one of these mountains where it's hard to see where the true top is. I think it might actually be the first one, you know. But I'll head out to this spur out here and have a little rest there. Well, that's not a bad view at all to kick off this morning's adventure. So this is Loony Bheinn, otherwise known as Loony Bheinn. I don't think I'm on the top just now. I think the top was actually the first cairn that I touched. I'll just show you that just now. But this Munro is 939 metres high, and I think it loosely translates to the sea swelling hill, something like that. Tremendous views in every direction as well. Unbelievable. The amount of peaks you can see and the distance you can see, stunning. So I'm going to get a quick bite to eat. I need to get my energy levels back up, and then I'll show you some of the views around here. So as I just mentioned, there's an absolute heap of mountains and things to see from up here. I'll try and pick some of them out. So there's where I'm going to next. In the background, there's the islands Rum and Egg out there. Over to the peak I've just came from. The distance there is tomorrow's adventure, Ladhar Bheinn. And in the middle, you might just be able to pick out the Isle of Skye. Behind me, you can see down to Barrisdale Bay. I can actually just pick out my grey tent sitting in the campsite. And behind it is the big peak of Ben Screethel, which I done just a couple of months back. And over this direction, you can see over to Sgurnakish, which is there. And back here, this must be into Glen Shiel and that sort of area. What an incredible place. This is one of the last wildernesses of Scotland. There's not many places in Scotland that can rival it for remoteness, and it certainly feels very, very remote up here. Absolutely incredible. I've looked forward to doing this for a long time, so yeah, I'm really enjoying myself. So from here, things really started to open up, and I was getting a feeling of remoteness here. It's not a place you want to have a trip or fall, as there's nothing for miles and miles except rugged hills and mountains. So the rest of this route takes the form of that rocky broad ridge behind me. It looks fantastic. I'm blown away by the views today over the Sgurrna Ceist and in that direction. I just can't stop stopping to look at the view. It's incredible. Well, that's me up onto the ridge now. Oh, there's a tiny bit of scrambling towards the last part there, but oh my God. Wait until you see the views up here. What incredible views. So I think the top is just to my right hand side. So I'll catch up with you once I get there. Okay, so I finally made it to the second Munro today, my 180th Munro. This is Meall Bhuide, and it's 946 metres high. Means the yellow rounded hill. There was nothing rounded about that, that's for sure. Quite difficult in between the two Munros, but it was well worth it as you're rewarded with these fantastic views up here. So in the distance, you can see the instantly recognisable Isle of Skye with its jagged peaks. It looks quite intimidating from this angle. But a bit closer in the frame, you might just be able to see the summit of Ladhar Bheinn, which is tomorrow's objective. Save the best till last, they say. It looks like a fantastic, complex sort of mountain, and I'm really looking forward to doing that tomorrow. So looking towards the east, you can see the pointy peak of Sgurrna Ceist, but to the right hand side of that, I think it must be, it's Big Ben Nevis, prominent on the skyline. I think you'll have to agree that one of the finest views from this Munro is out to the Isle of Rum and Egg. Absolutely incredible. You might also be able to see down to Inverie, which that's what I was telling you about earlier or yesterday, that you can get the ferry across to there and do these Munros, including Ladhar Bheinn, from down there. So yeah, I'm going to spend quite a bit of time up here and get some lunch, I think. So that's me fed and watered again, and I've spent probably more than half an hour up here just taking in the views, and it's probably time to start heading back down. So the route down from here goes back to Mam Barrisdale and down to Barrisdale Bay. Quite a long descent, and there's going to be a bit of ascent back to Mam Barrisdale as well. If I was going to do this again, I'd maybe do it the other way around, this one first. At least then you're making your way back and you get the long part done at the start of the day. But I can't moan. It's been absolutely incredible. And on a day like this, the views are just perfect. It doesn't get much better. So anyway, I'm not going to film anything on the walk back to the campsite due to the fact that my camera battery is dying as well. I don't have much left. And I've still got Ladhar Bheinn to film tomorrow. So I'll catch you once I'm back at Barrisdale Bay. Well, that's me. Just made it back to the tent now. Oh, I'm absolutely knackered. That was a lot tougher than expected, the descent off that Munro. I think it took about 3.5 hours to get back here. But anyway, I'm going to chill out now, get some dinner, maybe even have a nap, get a coffee. And yeah, I'm just going to chill out for a few hours. Since I had a bit more time this evening than the night before, I thought I would head down to Barrisdale Bay to try and catch the sunset. So that's it for day 2 of my Knoydart adventure. What a stunning, stunning place this is. I've ran out of words to describe it now, I just give up. But it has been a tough day today, I will admit. Coming off that second Munro was tricky. The terrain is so rocky, there's not many paths, and it's just steep. It's just steep most of the time. But tomorrow I'm doing the biggie Ladhar Bheinn, and I think I'm going to strike it straight from Barrisdale Bay, straight up. I think I might not return via Mam Barrisdale, as that will cut out some of the ascent and descent. I'm just knackered, and in that heat it takes it right out of you. Plus, once I'm done tomorrow, I am planning to hike back to Kinloch Hourn, so that is going to be a struggle carrying the heavy backpack after a big day on the hills. So we'll call it a day, I think, and I'm just going to sit here, enjoy the sunset the next half hour. So I'll catch you in the morning. Well, good morning and welcome to day 3 in Knoydart, my final day. So I just left the campsite. You may be able to see it just below me. It looks like it's going to be another stunning day today. I'm slightly concerned about it though, because I got scalded yesterday. So today I'm going to be striking straight up to Ladhar Bheinn, and I set off about 5:30, so I'm hoping to get up there quite sharp, especially before it warms up today. But then once I return to the campsite, I'm going to be doing the 7-mile walk back to Kinloch Hourn. So it's going to be a busy day, probably some walking and talking. But yeah, I'm really excited to see the views at the top of Ladhar Bheinn. Wow, that is spectacular. The ridge of Ladhar Bheinn behind me. It's going to be a steep pull up to get there. You may not be able to see me as I'm in the shade just now, but the sun is rising quickly behind, so it's not going to be long before I'm getting burnt again. So not looking forward to that too much, but what a spectacular mountain this looks. I can't wait to get up there. So that's me up on the ridge of Ladhar Bheinn. That was a tough pull up to get to this point, but look at the views behind, back down Loch Hourn. You can see the route I'm going to take just up and over here. Now the winds have picked up, so I'm going to have to be quite careful up there. It's a long way to come to turn around, but if I've got to do it, I've got to do it. So yeah, hopefully next time I see you, I'll be getting close to the top. So I've made a decision that I'm not going to continue any further. This wind is just kicking up every so often and it is making me unsteady, so I think I'm going to have to call it a day. I'm frustrated, I will be honest, I am frustrated because I'll try and show you the top is actually not too far away, just in the distance there, but look at this, it's just not safe for me, especially being by myself. I mean, I probably could make it to the top, but in my eyes that's involving some risk, and it's not a risk that I'm willing to take. So as I say, that's a hard one to take, all the way here, But you know what, it's not worth it. I've had a great day, some amazing views today as well. It's not always about getting to the top, so I'm going to take my time, take some care getting back down from here, and I'll give you an update once I'm back down. As you can imagine, that was a tough decision to make. So I managed to find a sheltered spot to take in some of the views, and the one that took the eye the most here was over to Benskreethel and the small village of Barrisdale below.
I see the moon, I can see a few stars. There's a cool wind blowing all around. I can hear the trees. Oh, I can feel the owls are calling close. The oaks are drawn.
Right then, that's me finally down safely. That was just unbearable up there. I couldn't go any further. Even coming back, it was a bit sketchy, so I'm happy that I made the right decision there. As you can see, the views in this place, it's just special. So I'm going to go back to Barrisdale Bay now, pack up my stuff and make the long walk out to Kinloch Hourn. So I'll give you a quick brief of my trip once I leave Barrisdale Bay. Well, today has ended up being a bit of a disaster, to be honest. So I made my way back to the campsite to find that my tent was actually gone. The spot that I pitched in the corner, there was absolutely nothing there. So my first thought was that it's been blown away in the wind because it was quite breezy down there as well. And my second thought was maybe it's been stolen with all my new gear inside it. So it's safe to say I was quite shocked, but it turns out that some lovely people noticed that the tent pole had snapped and was rubbing against the outer of my tent, and they bundled everything up and put it into the bothy. You probably won't be watching this, but thank you if you are. You just didn't have to do that. So my new tent, the MSR Hubba Hubba NX2, it's lasted 3 nights and it's been destroyed. Now I would say I maybe pitched it wrong or pitched it against the wind, but for the last 2 days there hasn't been a breath of wind, so it's hard to judge which way to do it. And I thought I had it set up really solid, it's been fine, so I don't know what's went wrong there, but it is a bit of a disaster. But my Knoydart adventure, in general, it's been out of this world. I haven't seen a place like this before. There's just views in every direction. I think I've taken about 1,000 pictures of the loch and the mountains, and yeah, it's been fantastic. If I was to learn a few things about it, I'd say wear gaiters next time, as it's rather boggy, and yeah, I think gaiters would have helped. Also, to bring some footwear for the campsite at night. It wasn't nice putting these big heavy boots on every time I wanted out of the tent. And probably a third thing I learnt was put on sun cream before the sun comes out. Even though it's mid-April, I've been absolutely scalded. It's too late for sun cream now, to be honest. So yeah, I think I'll give this my rating now. It's got to get a 9.9. The views probably speak for themselves, but I'm going to drop 0.1 of a mark for my tent getting destroyed and not making it to the top of Ladhar Bheinn. I'm slightly disappointed. I'll be honest, I was totally gutted when I got so far and had to turn back. That was probably the toughest decision I've had to make on my Munro journey so far. But safety always comes first, and I can always come back and do it. I mean, I don't need an excuse to come back here, that's for sure. I actually met the guy who does a ferry from Barrisdale over to the base of Ladhar Bheinn. He was in the bothy today, so I think I'm going to do it that way next time and mix it up a bit. So yeah, all in all, it's been a fantastic trip. So that's going to be it for this video. I've just got a couple of hours to walk back to Kinloch Hourn. It's absolutely roasting, hence I'm sitting in the shade, so it's going to be tough, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I've done Knoydart justice, and hopefully you'll join me for some more Munros in the next one. So before I go, I'd like to just mention that MSR have taken back the fly sheet and poles from my tent. This was no questions asked as well. Great customer service, and they're going to repair or replace, whichever is going to be easiest, and send them back to me. So I'm not done with this tent just yet. So even though I really enjoyed that, I've never been so happy to be back in my van. Oh, I'm knackered.
Me and the world